We will open the phone lines in a bit. We would want to hear from you, hear what it was like for you Wednesday evening and early hours of Thursday morning. I'm sure quite a number of you did not bother going to work again on Thursday. I know some people didn't even bother to show up on Friday because it was that traumatic. But let's start with what happened. Basically, if you've been in another planet and you were not in Lagos last week, or you've not even heard the news, well, the Independence Bridge on the island was closed for repairs, and it caused untold hardship on residents of this great bustling city, Lagos. My colleagues here would try to give us their own experience of what it was like while we, talk about it critically and look at how to actually ensure that we can have a better scenario next time. I'll start with you, Nenna. No, let me start with Mercy. Mercy was the one who was in the thick of it. Mercy, first things first, when did you get home that day?
I got home a few minutes after 7 p.m.
In the evening?
Yes.
When did you leave the office?
I left the office a few minutes after 4 p.m.
Oh, so you probably did not really, quote unquote, suffer too much. 3 hours.
I did.
Okay, tell me about your suffering. Tell me about your suffering.
Out of those 3 hours, 2 hours was spent on foot.
My goodness.
On foot. From VI down to CMS.
Wait, hold on. No, why are you laughing? Are you saying you trekked from VI here to CMS?
Yes, I did. I probably broke the records of most athletes.
Records indeed. How many kilometers was that?
I calculated with my phone,
and
it was over 11 kilometers.
Okay, so ideally a football field, when you go round, is 800 meters, right? 800 meters is when you go round once. 1,500 kilometers is when you go twice. Meaning, this is like, you said 11 kilometers, right?
Yes, 11 kilometers.
This is like going round a standard football field about 5 or 6 times. That's what it meant. I'm just trying to, put that in perspective for the people listening to actually understand. Some might argue it's not much of a distance. However, it's not something you usually do, right?
No, not.
So to have to trek all that distance from VI to CMS, because of course the cars were not moving and everywhere was literally blocked. How did your body feel it?
First of all, my legs, if they had lips, they would have screamed at me, because at a point I was dragging my feet to move.
Wow. So when you got,
I'm not exaggerating.
When you got to CMS, what now happened?
When I got to CMS, I thought there was more traffic, but I felt relieved when the traffic was free from CMS. Down.
So you were able to get a bus from there.
Yes.
Home. Okay, that was Mercy's experience. Nena, what about you? What was it like?
Okay, so normally I would leave the office around 8, but somehow I just thought.
Speak to the mic.
Okay. So normally we would leave the office around 8 o'clock, but that day we felt we should probably stay till like 10. When it's 10, the road will be clear. We thought it was the usual Lagos traffic. Brethren, by 10 when we left. When we left 10 from the office to a hotel, we spent 1 hour. I'm not even joking.
And that's like if you're driving, it's like a 3-4 minutes drive.
Yes.
Give or take from the office to a hotel roundabout.
Yes, we spent 1 hour there. We were crawling. If there's another word before crawling, I guess that's the right word. And then when we eventually said, oh, we are not even going again, let's go back to the office and go and sleep.
So to turn around from a hotel, Adetokunbo Ademola, go through Bishop Aboyedeko, back to the office here in VI.
We spent another 30 minutes to turn. In fact, on Aboyede Code, they had said
going one way.
Yes, going one way. So everywhere was literally blocked.
So let me bring Emmanuel Onwokai into this conversation now. Even though he was not part of the trekking people, and he's looking at me wondering what exactly do I want to say. But Emmanuel, from experience in these kind of scenarios, it's not just the fact that the bridge was closed that also caused the traffic. It's also the fact that we, on our own, Lagos residents, we are very terrible when it comes to driving. People create routes that were not there, and then I talked about the fact that on Bishop Aboyede Cole, it had become one part of the road that was supposed to be for going had now become coming and going. All of these sorts of things help. Then, of course, the big men who want to use police and chase everybody out of the way would also create their own routes, blowing their horns and everything, and it will end up increasing maybe times 2 of what the normal traffic would have been.
I beg to differ.
What are you differing?
I don't even know what I'm differing, but I just beg to differ. But I think the problem starts for a lot of people not being aware. I think that's where the challenge came from. But then again, like we said, it was because people saw it like an avenue, because on the other side, coming from the other lane, there was no vehicle. And then people started taking the opportunity that if there's no vehicle here, let me take this route and do it. And then there were no last mile officials on ground as much as we had wanted. I think from about 5-6 p.m., every one of them disappeared from the road. Even if you listen to the governor's statements after when he visited the site, he was assuring that there will be more last mile officials on the ground, just to make sure that they are able to get over the challenge, because we didn't see them. So where there is no, yes, we can say Lagosians, they have this bad driving habit.
In last month's defense, they were probably overwhelmed because nobody expected that traffic started in the morning.
Are we saying that?
Truly, this traffic did actually started in the morning. It did start in the morning.
So let's get some.
Because I remember going to the hospital that Monday, and as soon as I walked into the hospital, the first thing the receptionist told me was that they were still expecting 1 or 2 people because they had been held up in traffic. In fact, that's the first thing that made me know that there was traffic. And by the time I left the hospital, I think past 3, I could see that VI had started blocking a little bit. I just navigated my way and came to the office, and I said, I ain't going nowhere today.
But are we saying that even if Lagosians can claim that they were not aware or we didn't hear the announcement?
So to be
are we saying last month?
No, to be fair to Lagosians, this might in a way also indict us as media persons, but I don't think it's just about us. You remember when the closure for the Third Mainland Bridge was made? You could argue that there was more publicity. You could also argue that CWIA, and I'm talking Cool FM, Wazobia, Nigeria Info FM, I don't know if our sister station was up then, kids, we took it upon ourselves to constantly remind Lagosians that this thing was going to happen, get ready and all of that. I was on leave, but I think I remember seeing on one of our bulletins that this Independence Bridge was going to be closed. I think I remember seeing that. In
our defense, because we are also part of the newsroom, in our defense, we did all of that. But then I had a conversation with somebody, I think that was an Uber driver, and then I had somebody with some persons again, and they told me that you people were telling us that Independence Bridge was going to be closed. I beg, which one be Independence Bridge?
Okay, now that's also another story.
So nobody
quite
knew.
A number of people did not know.
Most people did not know that was
independent. Do you understand? That was they didn't
so
know the
do you believe that there could still be 1,001 people listening to Nigeria Info right now who don't even know where that bridge is about? So please, can you explain? Where is the bridge? Oh, me, but even you two do not know.
Well, so if you are going on the road now, you're going towards the Bonny Camp, yeah.
Okay.
So the bridge that is over at Bonny Camp, the one that takes you from
VI to Onikon.
From Onikon, exactly. So I think that's Independence Bridge. At the end of the day, disclaimer.
Please don't tell me that even you two do not know the Independence Bridge.
I am positive. Just very positive.
Now you've passed through that area. Or is it Mercy? Mercy, which one? Be specific about it. Which one is the Independence Bridge? Because there could be 1,001. If I'm being honest, even myself, I'm confused. Sometimes I think it's one, other times I think, and again, since that closure, I've not even bothered to go anywhere near there because I don't want to get myself, in that shut up. Mercy, could you please describe the location for us?
Okay, I'm not very good at descriptions, but
Wow.
I know the Independence Bridge is the only bridge on the island that is over a waterway.
So it's the one I was talking about. Yeah,
Yeah.
it's the one that as soon as you get over it, you are at the Unicon, the what's the name of that stadium again? Muson Center and all that area.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Okay, so Lagos, this is the time where we want to hear from you. Quite a number of you were, on that traffic gridlock that, more or less was a big issue, cost a lot of people hours, time. The governor had to apologize. The Minister of Works also had to apologize, suspended the Federal Controller of Works, and then yesterday recalled that suspension and said, she had good reasons, to close down the bridge. The bottom line is, I honestly think that the communication should have been a lot better. We should agree on that. To a large extent, fixing that bridge was a necessity because, again, like the governor mentioned when he visited the place, it would be catastrophic if for any reason something just happens one day on the bridge and God forbid we lose lives. That would have been worse. It's better for us to have suffered the traffic and nobody will die as opposed to people just driving early hours in the morning, 7 a.m., rush hour when people are coming to work, and boom, you hear that the bridge has caved in, and people let's not even envisage it. Let's just leave it at watching Hollywood movies.
And they would drag the Lagos State.
Obviously, the governor would never recover. The state would never recover from that kind of catastrophic happening, if indeed it was allowed to happen. But also, there should have been better communication from the federal government, from the state government, to ensure that at least a lot of people understand it. That collaboration between the government and the media should have been there to sensitize people, before such a large construction, is carried out. But let's talk, people. 0201 2770993. That's the number with which you can reach us. Hello. Good. Okay. Manuel's Village people have come from Delta. Hello. Good evening. Welcome to the newsroom.
Good evening to every one of us there in the studio.
Good evening to you too.
That Independence name they call that thing is confusing. I know it's Bonny Camp. You know where they fish? Some fishermen used to stay on top of that bridge to fish.
Yep.
That is where you have that Independence. But when they mention Independence Bridge, people are to be fair to be Lagos State government or something. 2 weeks before this thing they closure, they've been making this announcement. Diversion.
Exactly. I remember that. I like I said, I was on leave, but I remember seeing it a few times on our newsroom bulletin.
Yes, even through your station. That is why I had the news. So they were saying it. I'm telling you, my brother, telling us route and where to follow. Sure, you get.
Yeah.
But like this bad habit driving we have. I come out from Kofa Abayomi. You know Kofa Abayomi, right?
Mm-hmm.
Going to Ikoyi, just by law school, climb the bridge and get to Palomo and head to Banana Island, right?
Mm-hmm.
3 hours between Kofa Abayomi and that first traffic light before law school.
Yeah.
You know what I did? I did this Jim Bond style of what do you call it? I went to Akadishola, get to Bar Beach,
okay,
then get to Eko Meridian, pass near your office,
okay,
bus start at Enuru, Sheraton there,
okay,
get to Lekki Phase 1, then there's traffic at what do you call that? The Freedom Way, to link the new bridge.
Okay.
Then I had to go through the inner street in Lekki, then get to the roundabout and connect the link bridge to get to Banana.
Oh, okay. So you did more like a backyard turn.
Oh, I'm telling you,
Oh,
it's good to have ideas on the road, But some of us, were just talked on that. People were trekking. See big men with their police. All of them were trekking. I'm telling you, both to Igbo, both to black.
It was a trekking gallop. Maybe some good exercise for the body.
I'm telling you, it's not funny. Thank you. Thank you.
You didn't tell us your name, by the way.
Ufuoma Egbamuno. This is Christopher Onwuka.
Okay, Christopher.
Foundation member.
It's not me you're talking to. You're talking to millions of Nigeria Info listeners. So of course.
Mbanu, they know. They know. I'm just. Okay,
bye, Christopher. Bye. Hello, good evening. Welcome to the newsroom.
Hello, good evening, Informer.
Hi, good evening to you.
Yeah, good evening to your guest. Please, sorry what you went through. Please, sorry. Sometimes it used to be like that, but it is better to be like this than to be mourning anybody.
I agree with you. I agree with you.
So whatsoever, what you have lost, the Lord will recover it.
Mercy, I say amen.
Mercy, sorry.
Is it not food that will recover the energy?
All
right, well, thank you.
You see, I will always tell people that to be fair to the state government, they really did a lot of announcements. Just that most people who are staying in the connected place like Ogun State, Songo, most of them were not aware, due to. But those of
that's the reason they should start listening to Nigeria Info.
That is why. So by the time you navigate, you if you're listening to Nigeria Info, you will always get the update, and you will not fall a victim of that. But I will also advise, if you are coming from, let's say, Ikeja to VI now, most people doesn't know how to navigate.
Please tell us.
So if you come to Ikeja, and before getting to this place, to Yaba, you will navigate through you go through what do they call it? Like you are going through Oyingbo. You don't face Oyingbo. You face navigate to your left, that you are going to
a axis.
Yes, so that you cut it off.
Okay.
So that you can cut it off when you navigate through Yaba. Then you can cut it off there through the Third Milan Bridge. So then you connect the Third Milan Bridge and you cut it off. You see. So if you come through the Third Milan Bridge,
okay, all right. So you go through, you now come under from the stadium, and go through under the bridge and get to VI. That's what you're talking about, yeah. Or go to Ikoyi if you are.
When you are coming that way, definitely you have to go through Osborne.
Okay. I know where you're talking about.
So you now take it through Falomo Bridge.
All right. But the thing is, almost everybody too will be going with that route, and when you have a large normally on a normal day, that route always has traffic during rush hour. So
yes,
God will save us.
I think within these short hours, God will really save us.
All right, let's leave it at that. Let's see if I can take another call. Maybe one more call. Hello?
That husband the guy mentioned did not help matters. I have colleagues who suffered that thing that day. That husband. I'm telling you, because a lot of people come through there.
Okay, so Christopher, thank you.
Not the best thing for them. Thank you.
All right, thank you very much. Hello, 99.3 Nigeria Info. Welcome to the newsroom.
Good evening, Ufuoma. You didn't have to pick Christopher's phone again. Why is he calling twice?
We didn't know it was him, actually. Sorry about that. But, he had a useful information. Go ahead, tell us what you think.
My name is Altine. I'm calling from Ikeja.
Okay,
like you right, I think this time around, the government did not broadcast it very well, like other times, like you rightly said. But I had it on your radio.
Okay.
I had it on your radio. And so, the previous week, the week before that, this last one, I had something to do in VI. And so by the time we passed, what do you call it? Obalende, I just remember, I said, the Independence Road is going to be closed. So I just told the driver, let's go down through Museum. Okay, Museum, and then go through Southwest Igudi, because I was going to VI. We went down So before the Muson Center, turned around the roundabout and then got to VI through Southwest Ikoyi.
Okay.
But on our way coming back, but I just noticed that the whole place was calm. I said, are you sure that this Independence Way was really has been closed? Because on our way coming back...
What day was this? That same Wednesday?
No, a week before.
Oh, okay. Wednesday. Okay.
Because I remembered, so I just said, okay, let's go through Southwest Ikoyi. And from Southwest Ikoyi, we linked VI. But on our way coming back, we went through the Independence Bridge.
As at then, it had not been closed.
Yes, it has not been closed. But the crux of the matter is that it was not properly publicized, except for those of us that are radio rats, like Christopher Nwuka and myself.
Yeah.
Yes, because I knew him right from one radio house in Ikeja here. So we're always Prince YS and the rest. So that's why I remembered very well that this bridge that is going to be closed will cause havoc. Let me just maintain my...
All right. Thank you.
There was no publicity.
Thank you very much. In the midst of all of that talk about publicity, at least to a large extent, Nigeria Info and our sister stations, we still try to do the little we can, as we always do when it comes to, giving you information about these kinds of incidents, that would help plan your route, because of course Lagos is a very, very busy city, and like the old song from the 80s says, time na money. Okay, that will be my cue to, of course, move on to the second segment of the show. This time around, we will still be talking about traffic management, and we will be joined by an official of the Lagos State Traffic Management Authority to talk about, of course, traffic generally in the city, traffic management, and of course, the bridge will now officially be closed in another 2 weeks, right? Because I remember that last week when all of that conversation was had, they said 3 weeks from now, in fact, there was a bit of a fanfare in the reopening. The minister had to drive past it, to assure residents that, it's fine now, at least for now. But it was said that last week that in 3 weeks' time, it will now officially be closed. So Lagos and beyond, this is the first week. In another 2 weeks, that bridge will be closed for about 2 months or thereabouts to ensure that proper, repairs, are done, because structurally there's a bit of an issue with the bridge, and we don't want to get to the point where there's a catastrophe. That's not what we want in Lagos. So just for the records, the Independence Bridge will be closed again in another 2 weeks. That's 2 weeks from now. I should say 3 weeks from now. Today is Monday. It's all about the beginning of the... After this week, after next week, the upper week, 3 weeks from now, that bridge will be closed. So the governor, if I remember vividly, did say something about employers, giving their employees that grace to be able to, on certain days, work from home if it is possible. Someone like Ufuoma Egbamuno unfortunately cannot work from home, so she's not the kind of person that the governor was talking about. But there are some workers who should be able to work from home, and the governor is saying, and I think I agree with him, if it is possible to have people work from home, then fine, so that you reduce the number of people who will be on the road coming into the island. That way, at least we can manage the traffic situation when eventually the bridge is closed. Well, what my producers are trying to get through to the public relations officer of the Lagos State Traffic Management Authority, you call them LASMA, so that we will talk more on, of course, how we can manage the traffic situation here in Lagos. That's what we're trying to do right now. And as soon as we get Adebayo Taufik on the line, I'll be asking him one or two of the questions that I already hoped to ask him. But while we're waiting for him, let me see if I can read a message or two. This person here who did not put his number, just try to explain one way that he, I think he's a he, suffered on Wednesday. Apologies, you didn't put your name, but apologies for going through. Don't worry, we also have someone here who had to trek from Messi, sorry, no verse. I just had to say it. I know it's not a laughing matter. I know it's not a laughing matter. When you said that you got to the point where your legs were actually struggling, to carry you across, that's when it hit me that, hey, this was not a laughing matter. Anyway, producers, do we have a guest on the show now? Hello, good evening to you, sir. Welcome to the newsroom.
Yeah, good evening, madam. How are you?
I'm very well. It's good to actually have you on Nigeria Info at this point in time. So quickly, let me start by asking you that deployment of traffic solutions to reduce human interference in traffic. That's one thing that LASMA officers now use to capture real-time evidence of traffic violations. Could you explain this further for the average Lagosian listening right now?
Well, I don't know. Sorry, thank you very much for having me this evening. For a clearer identification, my name is Adebayo Taofeek. I'm the Director of Public Affairs and Enlightenment Department of LASMA. As regards the technology you earlier mentioned, I want to state clearly that these days the state government has deployed the TMS devices, what we refer to as traffic management solution devices, to LASMA officers, whom they now use to capture traffic infractions. And the essence of this TMS camera is to capture traffic infraction at a real time, so that there won't be a kind of altercation, there won't be a kind of an argument. Earlier before, you will quite agree with me that if there is any motorist that committed any traffic infraction, there has to be this very long argument between the motoring public and that of our officers as a other traffic enforcers. But these days, the state government has moved from that kind of situation, and after understanding what could be done, they came up with this modern technology, which are now with the LASMA officer, the CMS camera. This camera is such an handy camera, just like a phone you are having, and the public usually refer, at times mistakenly call this CMS camera a POS machine, because it's very, very handy and very portable. You see, what it does is immediately you commit any traffic offense, it will capture you from the distance. LASMA officers doesn't need to get closer to you again before you are being captured with this camera. It will capture the offense you have committed prior to the registration number on your vehicle. It will capture the real time at which you have committed this offense, and it will get us to know that the location and the real time of which you have committed this offense. This will now send it to a kind of a bank, because automatically, as of the time you are registering your vehicle with the Motor Vehicle Administration in Lagos State, they have a pool at which all this, the domicile, all the registration number of this vehicle. So as a result of this capturing, now you send it to that pool, which of course it will extract your information right from the pool, and immediately within shortest time you will receive a notification on your phone that will tell you that you have committed a traffic infraction. This time around, it's no more a kind of an argument, because automatically the notification you will receive right on your phone, you will see a video there. If you press the arrow at the center of the video, it will play your vehicle for you as of the time and the location at which the infractions have been committed. And you see right under that video, you have two buttons. The first one says how to effect payment, while the other one says challenge. The challenge by the government, they feel that in as much as we are all human beings, there are bound to be one or two errors. That was why they said probably you have a contest against the offense they are levied against you. Probably you have a reason of committing such offense. Then you state your reasons with the kind of a window that will open to you by the time you press this
challenge button.
So from there, after you have submitted that, then you receive another notification that will, invite you to the Lagos State Mobile Court, where at that court the arresting officer would present the video evidence and that of the photograph evidence before a magistrate, and you also will now state your own reason as which you have committed such a traffic offence. Then the magistrate will now, by virtue of the Lagos State Transport Sector Reform Law, now adjudicate about the case and let us know the final answer. But in most cases, people that have contested it have rightly lost at the level of the court because there is a clear evidence by that TMS camera that will give a kind of a video evidence and that of photograph evidence. So this has really assisted the agency a lot. And I must tell you that right from about 1.5 years that we have been using it, it has captured nothing less than about 230,000 traffic infractions, of which out of this 230,000, about 70,000 out of it has been cleared of a kind of an human error in capturing, where we have well over 180 that have been, alleged, that have been certified to have committed such a traffic infraction. So these are really developed the kind of an enforcement motives of the agency, and it has really assisted us in at least trying to manage and make traffic flow efficiency, because now people are wary that automatically when the last one officers they have a TMS camera with them, so they comport themselves whenever they are behind the wheel at any point of the road in Lagos.
All right, Lagos, if you just joined us, we've got Adebayo Taufik from LASMA speaking to us on the Newsroom Lagos at this point in time. So let me ask you, what are the most common traffic violations you've seen in the course of using this camera?
You have a lot of traffic violations that you commit. It captures you when you are driving at the BRT corridor. It captures you if you try to stop by the roadside to pick or drop passengers or friends. And that's really why we are telling even both private car owners, you always ensure that if you want to pick a friend or a colleague from office or even a family member, ensure that you ask them to wait for you at a designated bus or being provided by the government. And we use it to capture even where you are, where you beat the traffic light. It captures you. If you are not on seatbelt, because you are expected to have been on your seatbelt while driving, it will capture you. While using phone, they could use it to capture. You see, it goes a long way. All traffic offences that you might, even if you fly the one way, they will use it to capture you as well. So it does a lot of job when it comes to traffic enforcement.
All right, quickly. There's been a lot of traffic congestions, in the state recently, and you could also argue a lot of accidents in recent times, in the last couple of weeks. How has LASMA, been able to deal with these situations?
You see, most accidents occurring in recent times are man-made accidents. They are not a natural thing, because if you look at it critically, like the one that happened on Saturday at Sele, where you have a fully loaded 40-feet container that fell off. The container fell off from the vehicle, fell on about 4 or 5 commercial vehicles and 2 private cars. You understand that it wasn't as a result of probably, a natural thing. It was on the part of the driver of the truck who was then on excessive speed. And after noticing that there was a vehicle ahead of him, he found it difficult and lost control of that truck, which of course caused that very accident. Even the one that happened on Saturday is that of the negligence of the driver as well. And the one that even happened today at Otedola, where you have a Camry car being driven by a woman that fell off the Otedola bridge down to the other end of the bridge, was even as a result of not obeying the speed limit that the government has provided on the road. And that is one of the reasons why the Lagos State government is championing the cost of trying to install a speed limit camera devices at most highways and across the state, so that by the time you reduce your speed, even if anything suddenly comes your way, the vehicle
will be easy to manage.
Manage, not a situation whereby you are on top of the speed and when eventualities happen to you, then you lost control outrightly. So you see, from last month, we had like this TMS camera that we deploy is one of the tools at which we are using, because once you see a last month officer ahead of you, you comport yourself and you ensure that automatically, if you try to misbehave while driving, then you'll be captured. Also, we carry out a public education on traffic management and control. And we make use of this by providing, producing a kind of a jingle and documentary. Equally, we have what we call a true advocacy program, because the government felt that, well, while dealing with adults, why can't we go to schools? Why can't we go to catch them young on all these children?
Brilliant.
So this true advocacy program, you have our officers that go to different public and private schools every Wednesdays of the week to educate and enlighten most children about traffic road signs and traffic infractions and anything that has to do with traffic. Because the government believes that by the time they grow up with this kind of education, it will shape them, and the government will spend less time in the nearest future.
Okay, sir. Unfortunately, time not so on our side. Maybe we'd have to do this on another day, because
another very important one is the toll-free call center that the Lagos State Traffic Management Officer Agency has provided.
All right, we would have to do it on another day. We do not have so much time. But thank you very much, Mr. Adebayo Taufik, who is the Director of Public Affairs at LASMA. On behalf of my producers, Emmanuel Onwoka and Precious Nena Okun, thank you very much. It's been a great edition of the Newsroom. We'll do this again next week, Monday.
Choice for smart kids.
Now so I did on my own. Now message enter my phone.
99.3 Nigeria Info. We are more than just radio. Subscribe to our YouTube channel at Nigeria Info FM. Check us out on Facebook at Nigeria Info 99.3. Follow us on Twitter at Nigeria Info FM and on Instagram at Nigeria Info FM Lagos for live updates as it happens. 99.3 Nigeria Info. Let's talk.